Hello everyone, welcome to Braveheart. This is Sean Ling, and today the first day of CPAC 2021 and in Orlando, Florida. And together with me is Miss Rose Tennent, and she's a veteran radio host.
Yes, okay, that's a nice way of saying she's really old and she's been doing it a long time.
I think for me, it means I need to learn a lot from you.
Oh, okay, all right, we'll take that. I'll take that.
Okay, and so one thing I want to talk to you first, because last time we met is on January 6th. So after that, I know I was down in my spirit for a while. How did you feel?
I felt the same way. I felt so depressed, and I felt like such oppression. It seemed that to me that overnight, even Washington, D.C. changed completely, and I felt a darkness, I'll be honest with you. And I had said at the time, there's no way I'm coming back, and then I had to go back and meet with a congressman a month later. But I needed that time, I think, to revitalize and to really think about what the next step is, not just for me, but for the country. And you and I talk a lot about that, and it really does require so much of us now, more than it's ever required of us before. As Americans, we have a duty, we have an obligation. It's not by chance that we are here right now for this time. And so because of that, I believe that what we really need to do is find out what our purpose is and what we need to do to preserve a republic and a constitution that has survived longer than any other form of government. And that, I think, is our duty. So I think we all needed that break that was so discouraging, and everything that went on that day and prior to that, leading up to that. I think a lot of us needed to take that little break and that little rest to restore ourselves and be prepared for what our purpose is going forward.
We need our strength back in order to save the republic. So what do you think about the CPAC? Do you feel they also have the same urgency or feel this is obligation?
I don't think everyone here does. I'm going to be honest with you. The people, but I will say the people attending CPAC, they do. And when I talk to the people at CPAC, it's amazing because I have such a heart for them. And when you really start to talk to them and get to know them, you realize that they are just the salt of the earth. They are good people. They are people that are just your average American person that loves this country. And they're so good inside, and they have such purpose. And I hate that the media and the left have painted them in a different way, almost in an evil way, and they are so far from that. They are so far from that. So my heart is just so huge being here, because when you talk to the people that are here, the attendees, you get a feel for what real America is. And real America is very patriotic. Real America is gentle. Real America loves other Americans, but they also love this country, and they love their God too.
Do you think a lot of people didn't realize, even for some of these patriot people who were very active in the last few months, but now they had to be underground, they cannot speak up for themselves?
I think that's an interesting comment, and I think that a lot of people did feel like they had to go underground for a while. Not that anything they were saying was wrong or insightful or anything like that, but I think that the media, the government, and the left put a fear into their heart. And the best way to control a country or to control a people is by fear. And I would encourage those who were feeling that fear to put that aside now. You had your time of restoration, and you've got to stand strong, and you've got to walk forward in faith, because this is why I believe we are here right now. It's to preserve that Constitution and preserve the Republic. So that fear needs to be put away, and we need to step in faith, believing that we are doing the right thing. We are doing this for generations of people we will never know. We are doing it to save their lives, to save their futures. Already we can see the effects, negative effects of a Biden administration, and it hasn't even been that long. Imagine what can happen if we don't continue to stand up for what's right. Gosh.
People never imagined that the country can get on a speed train to the left so fast.
So fast.
Yeah, so
I didn't think we would be censored so quickly. That was astounding to me. But I do remember, and you and I talked about this, when we found out that some of our big tech companies were censoring or working with the Chinese government to censor and to prevent the Chinese people from receiving information. I thought, wait a minute, that's pretty weird. How can an American big tech company do that to people in another country? And then they're doing it to us. They're doing it to us.
Yes.
No, they have no qualms about it. Nothing.
Yeah, same textbook, same practice.
Yeah.
And so in these kind of conservative movements right now, and how do we actually bring additional resource together to build our own big tech?
Well, Donald Trump has a lot of this. I mean, let's start spending it on big tech. And the other thing I think is really important is not, there's a lot of talk about starting a third party. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I do too. Because for a third party to be successful will take years, and to gain a majority in the House or the Senate will take years. So what do we have to do right now? What we have to do is put pressure on those in the Republican Party who have not held the Republican or towed the Republican line, the conservative line. They are wimps. They are divisive. They would have you believe that we are the ones who cause division, but that is not true. It is those people like the Nikki Haley's and the Mitch McConnells. Those are the ones who are causing division within the party. Because if you have 70 million plus Americans that voted for Donald Trump, they voted for him. Yeah, some of them really liked the guy, but let me tell you something. They really liked his policies. They liked what he stood for, and they liked what they were seeing in the last 4 years. That's why you had so great numbers of people embracing that, not just the politician, but the policies.
Policy.
Yeah.
That really benefits people, the policy itself.
It did. So I think if we're going to move forward and be successful as Republicans, we need to replace those representatives that don't get it. And I think there's a movement right now that is so strong to do that very thing. And I think that if we can embrace his policies and understand and realize that that is what gave him such success, that is what the people like. Look, we brought in more African Americans to vote for a Republican than any other Republican candidate has done. We had the Asian community, we had the Latino community come out in greater numbers than they ever have in the past, because they understood that his policies were benefiting them, and that a continuation of those policies were going to benefit them even greater ways. So we have to remember that we brought in the blue collar, the frackers, the people in the fracking industry. We brought them in. He brought them in. We have to keep them. We have to keep them.
In the past, quite often people think the Democratic Party actually represent the working classes, but now it's totally different.
That is such a good point. We now are everything that the Democrats have claimed to be over the years, but never really were. And we are that right now. And that's what we have to hold on to. And that's what we can't forget. And that's what worries me when you have people like the Mitch McConnells and so forth who really don't get it. They really don't know. They really don't know.
So my last question. So under current situations, of course, political efforts is one big thing. But at the same time, I think spiritual aspect people talk about, we fighting these spiritual wars against the communism. So how do you think in the religious communities in the U.S. can be even more vocal, be stronger against the communist propaganda, disinformation campaign, or global aggressions?
That's such a good question and a great point, because the communist propaganda is so anti-Christian, so anti-religion, and it is so important right now. A lot of churches showed that they had no backbone through coronavirus, through the campaign, the election, and they need to get a backbone. But as a Christian, our scriptures tell us that there are going to be churches that fall away, that don't stand up for the right thing. But I would encourage those who are believers and those who are leading the believers to really think about what we are doing and how important these next few years are, and how important your faith is going to be in the next few years. I really think we're going to see some tough times. I do.
Hopes the country sees some hope even in these very difficult times.
I have hope. I really do. We can do this. We can do it.
Okay,
thanks,
great.
Sean.
Thank you so much, Rose. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching Brave Hearts. This is Sean Ling. We'll see you next time.